weekend in the area where I am, so we're going to Nexus Nights at dual dudes because I always play 2. I want to get some practice on a more aggro kind of version of Ezreal that abuses Ride the Wind even more, so we get pressure on early. The deck profile will be the next thing you see. And also they got me this cool playmat, which I will be playing on a lot because it's clean, it's nice, it just looks cool, and everyone at the store who is there more often gets also one. So this will be just a cool experience going to this at some events and just presenting your game store. And with that being said, I would say let's start into the deck profile. So let's start into the deck profile of this Ezreal deck. Obviously, the Ezreal, that's kind of brain dead, I guess. Then our chosen champion, the Prodigy, and a second one, because this comes in handy quite a lot, more than I actually thought. Then we have double Vex. I needed to cut one because I want to go more aggro kind of version. That's why we also play 2 Plundering Poros together with 2 Ravenbloom students. Not 3, because I rather see the Poro, but in the mid to late game the student is just better. Also 2 Fists to recycle our spells. I think no more explanation needed in this deck. Then 1000 Tail Watcher for blowout turns, and the 1 Rasa for some matchups, and he's also a pretty nice body, but I even consider cutting him in this deck. He doesn't feel that great, and every time I see him or I play him, he is just a win more card so far. Then obviously the 3-stack deck, just for consistency, crazy card. Then Cantrip, like he has Stupefy for drawing cards and even drawing more cards with our Prodigal Explorer. Then obviously 3 Cold Shot, just more consistency. What else can you say about this card? Then obviously the 3 Seal of Discord. We obviously need to not deramp us too much. Then 2 Rebuke. 3 is too much in the main board. We don't need it in every matchup, and in the matchup we need it, we want to see multiple, and it's always a okay card. Then 2 Bellows Breath, because I needed to make more space for what's coming next. That's why we only play 2, and it's a really good combo with the 1000 Tail Watcher, and I needed to play to Ride the Wind. 3 is a little too much, but we want to go Plundering Poro into Ride the Wind just for a tempo swing and to not deramp us in the following turns. Then 2 Wages of Pain. Like I said, there were cards I needed to replace, so I needed to cut a Wages. And double Arcane Shift. This card is just too crazy to not play it at least 2. Then the 1 Hard Bargain, just a game changer if we find it. The Morbid Return for our grind game. The Smoke Screen next to the Frigid Touch. If we wouldn't play Vex, we probably wouldn't play Smoke Screen and would play a second Frigid Touch. But due to Vex being just a crazy card, we play Smoke Screen. The 1 Fight or Flight. I'm not sure about this card, but I want to test it out. We will see how this performs at this locals. And the 1 Singularity, that is a blowout card in some matchups, but most of the time we bottom it or discard it for Ezreal. Then we go into, I feel pretty confident with it, but we will see how I like the Fight or Flight. But I'm pretty sure I like the Ride the Wind. I played 1 before and it was really great, even forcing people into combat with Vex when they try to play around it. Also something I almost forgot to tell you, I ordered some premium versions of Heimerdinger, just a card that has a great potential and has a good price at the moment for that. And yeah, just look at these cards. I love to bling out my decks, and this is just a really good way to do this. And he's still at 20 euros, but this guy could be spiking up by a lot as soon as this guy sees play in competitive. we finally arrived at Dual Dudes again, and it was just a pleasure to meet everyone. But again, in this beautiful place, even though the store is moving to another city soon, you will have a vlog on that, and even on a Nexus Night in the new store. But that being said, we started our day with some Spirit Forge boosters and some promo packs, and let's see what we could find there.
Ooh.
And there we go, we instantly got a hit on Deluxe. Deluxe, just a unit I really needed in foil for just blinging out my deck, because Lux seems to be a pretty future-proof deck, because if we get more things to discount themselves, she just draws a card for every card we play, and that's just cool. We then followed that up with 2 Spirit Forge boosters, which weren't that bad, but also not overly crazy. I think in the first one we got a Rabadons. I mean, it's an epic, but it's not worth anything. But I now have, again, a playset kinda of their own signature gears in my trade binder. I mean, that's something. And the last one had a body rune in it, just a good card I think instantly sold to one of my friends who starts to bling out his deck. Because somehow in this circle we just start to foil out and have the highest rarity at the end of our deck, I'd say. Because that's just a nice way to show how much you like your deck. And even a foil cold shot, that's also a great card. And after all these openings, we started to play against our rivals, so to say. Just someone I can't manage to beat in this set. It's a Draven player, of course, that just outvalues our Ezreal deck, and he had a, I think, pretty weird start, but he managed to find the right cards, and even the Draven into the Whale Temple just gave him some good advantage, and the Falling Star on my Vex was pretty insane. And here I started misplaying. I was too greedy playing the pickpocket. I just should have developed Vex, so we pressure him on the point, so he needs to use cards, or just me accelerating with all my card advantage because of Vex and Ezreal. And from there on out, I already felt like I'm kinda behind. I then played 2 units just to have some pressure on. But the deck just keeps on snowballing on his end, and even though the double seal or the seal and the treasure trove just crazy start, going into another treasure trove for setup in next turn, I really needed to start doing something, and I hope my Ride the Wind into the student was pretty good. But now looking at this game, I probably just should have held it and forced Vex into combat and dismantling his board in the current state, and not after he developed even more and then go to disrupt him even more, because now he gets just a free use of the shovel that probably already lost me the game. But I also learned something again, and that's really the beauty of rewatching your own games. And that's just, you see your mistakes, you can learn from that. Even though I got double Vex developed, it's probably a little too late. I started my turn. I needed to have an explosive turn. And I probably did one little misplay, because I didn't want to lose one single Vex. And I probably should have done it the way, so I lose 1 Vex. When we go into combat with double Vex, so Bellows Breath is free with our Ezreal on board. Then the Stupefy, that's the misplay I was talking about. I should have stupefied his Ezreal, his second one, so he doesn't have any left. Because, little spoiler, at the end of this turn, he still has something left, and that was probably not the best play, and otherwise I just would have had more cards and more mana to play with. Here we play for the Arcane Shift onto the Ezreal to disrupt the Draven and try to find new cards. Then I killed the Draven, but in the end it didn't kill his entire board. His Ezreal healed because of the end of combat. I just wanted to kill the last rights, and he had the hard bargain anyway. So I just scooped there and we got in the last game. Sadly we couldn't manage to beat him in the end, but I learned a lot, and the next time maybe it's the time I can beat this Draven up. In this local, we reached for second place, winning all the other matches. I was quite confident with that deck for the day, because most of the time, if I'm not that confident, I just play the second locals also with Ezreal. But this time, I was satisfied with how I play, so I decided, after we got some food, to play a different deck that's not that complicated, but also very fun, and that was the Ezreal deck. Just a token spamming that isn't that complex, but that's not a bad thing. If you just have limited choices, you can't do major misplays, and it also has its kinda nice interactions. And against Raven, it's just you need Azirs to just out-tempo the Draven. So I went ahead and changed the list you're seeing right now into something with more Azir and probably a little more of tempo swings. But I will see in the future, and I really like how this deck is playing out, even though it's not the most complicated one, but it never has to be. The game is complicated itself, so why even strangle yourself with that? The second local, we also went X1, so that was proven to me that deck isn't that bad, and we lost against the same Draven player. But again, even though the matchup is already bad, I noticed it's quite winnable if you play one or more Azirs more than I did, just to out-tempo your opponent, and also having some big swings on some battlefields where the Azir really helps, because they most of the time can't hold more than one battlefield, and if you swing with some soldiers in the first one and run into the second one, you're pretty good to go. We still got some new mail. Since I came home yesterday evening, I haven't had the chance to check this one out, so I'm gonna open this with you guys together, and let's see what's in this mail. Oh my god, what's happening here? Let's see what we got. And it's another Heimerdinger. Like I said before, a card I'm really looking forward to being meta relevant. This is just a very nice looking card. I mean, look at this. This is just a crazy card, crazy foiling.